Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'm on a PTS, and based on a request from one of our long-term audience members, I'm trying to show changes that are being made from some of the old stuff and how they will affect the new stuff. Now, my library is limited and it's based on my builds and loadouts that I have, so that's what I'm gonna show. And then if there are any other, requests that you may have, just put it in the comment section. If I can get around to it, I'll try my best to do so. I'll be here on the PTS, bouncing back between both my different accounts. I saw somebody mention that my shade level was low, and they said, that's how I know you don't play this game. Yet I have two accounts that are both level 40, and I don't play the game. Anyways, assumptions. So Tip of Despair has basically received a very decent change. It's a change that I'm quite happy with, because there are actually a few things that I wanted to mention with it. So this is my Tip of Despair build. I have actually made videos about this, showing gameplay and everything, how I actually do use it in the open world heroic, and kind of providing some extra tips, with the build and everything that actually goes around with it. Now, one of the really interesting things about Tip of Despair 2 is the changes that it's received. Let's go ahead and just check it out. The main talent, Aggressive Recon, the weapon damage buff is now gained when dealing specialization weapon damage instead of specialization weapon kill. So what this did now in PvP though, what it does is if you do a grenade, grenade damage instead of grenade kill in PvP. I don't know if a lot of people use this anyways, but if you damage people with a grenade, then boom, you get increased weapon damage. And that's actually a very decent damage increase when you look at it. Now, the one thing I would say is the way I built this, I was using, a China Light chest piece to gain 15% explosive damage. Then I was using weapon damage, and I was using Gunslinger. Gunslinger allows for you to be able to gain 20% damage for 5 seconds when you swap your weapons. Now, if you swap it while the talent is still active, you lose that buff and it goes on cooldown. So this was a kind of a weird trick play because I wanted all my weapons to have an extra 20% damage. So if I got that damage buff, let me do a weapon swap here so you can see Gunslinger talent just proc. Even if you swap to your specialization weapon, Gunslinger will proc, and then when it's all done, you swap to another weapon and it has a cooldown, whatever it is. Now if you swap in between, it's going to go to the cooldown in between when it's active. So it's kind of a thing where you kind of have to pay attention or maybe not pay attention, and if you get the buff, yay. If you don't get the buff, whatever. But now I don't have to run Gunslinger anymore, which is good. Sorry, I just smacked my microphone because I was using my hand to talk. And now all I have to do is just basically enjoy, the fact that all I have to do is whack an enemy NPC with my specialization damage, and now I gain, if using the chest piece, 40% weapon damage bonus with Aggressive Recon. So this frees me up to be able to take on something else. Perhaps, the good old Coyote's Mask is kind of the fallback if you can get that extra room and take on weapon damage. Perhaps I could use the Contractor's Gloves because I'm using the Pestilence. I like running the Pestilence with this build. Many people might say, but why? I'm a solo player, and to me, tick damage is very important because I stay in cover a lot. A lot of people maybe want to run out there and everything, but I'm chilling in cover, man, taking my time, doing whatever I can, and I use my Fox's Prayers knee pads in order to deal some very decent damage. Now, what I'll do is in post, I'm going to go run a control point. I'm not going to run a control point live here in gameplay because I think it's going to be, it's going to be very weird. That's one thing about control points. You can't really determine how you're going to perform. So it's nice for you to do it under no stress, under the stress of recording and talking at the same time. I can just concentrate and deal with that. But I think this is a good and a welcome change because now it frees up more room to be able to run a lot of different options as we go through, as we're going, into building and into the next set of, content that we're going to get. And it's a build that I actually do want to run. I'm not interested in the meta builds at all. I don't care. When I see a meta build, to me, that says go find something else to make, because I always like to go against the grain. It's fun, especially when when you find out that there are benefits to it and there's a challenge to it. It makes it even much more worth your time and all. And that's what also makes the game fun. If you run all the best builds, content gets dry really quick, and it's one of those things a lot of people suffer from because they see the best build on YouTube, and basically when the patch drops, no doubt you're gonna see the best DPS build of this. In fact, I feel like many people have found it, but they're not gonna say anything for the PTS, so that when the patch drops, guess what? They can get that 500,000 views or however many views they can get from videos like that, because it's fun, and I don't, to me, I don't slight them. It's an advantage for themselves, but you can bet that I would not touch those builds. Anyways, for those of you who want to run Tip of Despair, basically this is what it's going to be doing for you. Be generating specialization weapon ammo. I've tried to run it with Demolitionist. I didn't enjoy it, but Survivalist is still my best because I have this healing going here. And I use my, what drone is this? My striker drone, because, it just causes problems for enemy NPCs. I guess I can use a decoy. I guess I can use some other skill here, a firefly, to maybe blind. Maybe what I can do is on minor attributes, I can roll some status effects or whatever. But necessarily, it doesn't really bother me. It's a fun build that I built for myself. And these changes are going to do some real good work. And then also, like I said, I like using the LMGs. Now the LMGs are also getting a damage buff. I can count on my, Pestilence to do more tick damage. And now that also assault rifles have also gotten a buff, I can use, my glory days. Now, this Eagle Bearer is just on the PTS. I don't have a lot of these exotics on this account. And I don't have access to my other account where I could just swap something through the stash. That's not the reason I made this. I made this account to kind of, play solo and enjoy myself and kind of see what the challenges are. Maybe my Merciless might be a good, alternative, but weapon handling, now that it's made better, I think I might be able to use my use my Merciless and probably go back to that old China Light chest piece for the extra explosive damage. But the damage that the Merciless does too is also kind of, I think it's weapon damage too, so it doesn't really account for much in this context. Let's see what this does. Yeah, it does 1,200% weapon damage. So that doesn't really account for much in my opinion. So I guess I don't even basically need it. Anyways, that's my video for now. Let me put some gameplay in front of you guys if I can get around to it, and I'll let you see what it's like, and I guess I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.